Hello, 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 hello. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Looking forward to a happy new year. A lot to talk about. I want to just start off by saying today, in about 4 hours, I'm going to be doing something on Twitter Spaces. I think everybody can hear me. Looks good. I'm going to do something on Twitter Spaces. There's a link in the video description below. It's called Alone Together. I am alone for Christmas Day. Now, I'm Jewish and not particularly religious, and Christmas Day has never been a particularly big holiday for me, but still, I'm alone, and I'm alone a lot. I did this for Thanksgiving as well. So if you are alone for Christmas or you know somebody who's alone for Christmas and they are down or they're up, whatever, and they want to be a part of something. It's not a recorded space. It's just a chance for people to be together with somebody. It's 5 p.m. Eastern U.S. time to 6 p.m. Pacific U.S. time, and the vision is, hey, let's uh let's have a chance to chat, to feel like we're with other people. It's not the same as being with other people in person. I had a friend stay with me the last few days, and he just left this morning. I had Christmas Eve dinner with a friend who lives not far from me, so I'm getting some value of that. You can jump 18 feet high in the moon. Thank you. Um, so I wanted to mention that in particular. Also, after this live stream is over, I'm going to go to close to 1:30 p.m., which is about a half hour from now, and then I'm going to do a live stream on the Locals platform, warrenredlick.locals.com. There's a link to that in the description below. I'm going to talk about a recent New York Times article. Have it here. This New York Times article that's critical of Tesla, and I'm going to break down that article and show or tear down that article. It's kind of like a Monroe teardown of an article. So, yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. I don't really have a lot to talk about. This is not a video where I'm going to talk a lot about specifics of Tesla stock. I mean, let me just address the Tesla thing for a second. So, I own a lot of Tesla stock. My portfolio is down too. My portfolio is less than half of where it was, let's say, 6 months ago. I don't know. It's down quite a bit, and it's very easy to feel bad because your portfolio is down in dollar value. I am not, I'm still pretty happy. I mean, I guess in a sense, I would like it if my portfolio was valued higher. I would like it if Tesla stock was valued higher. I'm wearing the Tesla's the next Tesla t-shirt, elonbits.com for that. But um, I'm just not that worried. I'm confident for the future. I'm confident I'll be able to hold on to all or most of my stock as time goes forward. And Elon just talked, and I have a video tomorrow. By the way, if you support me on the Locals platform on Patreon or as a YouTube channel member at the exclusive content level, I have a new video that will be public tomorrow that you can watch now. If you support me on one of those platforms, as a YouTube channel member, it has to be the exclusive content level or above. I often give early access to my videos. I finished a video. It's a deep dive. It's about an hour and a half long, and I go through a recent presentation with Elon, talking about Tesla, talking about Twitter, talking about a lot of specifics of Tesla. So, please consider, if you're going to give me a gift, give me a gift for supporting me, particularly on the Locals platform. That's the one I appreciate the most, or buy shirts. But I'm not asking for gifts. I'm doing fine. So, uh, you know, it's easy to go into this, holiday season feeling bad about Tesla stock being down. And I like personally, I have the same amount of Tesla stock I had before. And I think my Tesla stock is valuable. And I don't assign a dollar value to my Tesla stock. I want to own more Tesla stock. I believe that over the long haul, Tesla stock will have a much higher dollar value. And the current dollar value is just a reflection of um, weird things that happen in stock markets. Stock markets do not follow normal logic. They don't. If you look at the company, and Elon talked about this, and this is going to be in tomorrow's video. If you look at the company, there's going to be a lot more depth in tomorrow's video. Everything's great at Tesla, the company. They're growing. They're uh, producing more and more cars. They're producing more and more battery packs. The mega pack business is booming. FSD is getting better and better and better. You can see, you follow this story of Chat GPT and Stable Diffusion and there's Mid-Journey. There's all these AIs that are out there that are now doing some pretty amazing things, and you gotta recognize, well, if the AIs are doing that stuff that's amazing, then how long is it until we solve self-driving? And, it might be a year or more. I still think we're gonna hit quote level 4 in 2023, and when Tesla cracks that nut, we can't know when it's gonna be, but when Tesla cracks that nut, it's going to be a game changer. For Tesla, the company, Tesla stock. Warren's glasses are the same as the frog on the poster on the wall behind the electric Viking on his videos. I don't get the reference, Jim, but thank you, I think. So yeah, and me personally, like dollar value. We're selling our house. Hopefully, we'll have our house sold in a couple months, and I'm gonna have a pile of cash. And if we could push Tesla stock down to like 80 or 50, I'd really appreciate the opportunity to buy a heck of a lot more Tesla stock. I know that's not what people want to hear, but if you can accumulate cash and buy Tesla stock when it's cheap, that's great. I don't know where the floor is. There's going to be a bottom. This is another thing I'll say. I don't think I talk about this in tomorrow's video. When you look at how Tesla stock has been moving, I think there's been a lot of pressure on people who bought on margin. And I've seen people talk about how they had to sell because they had margin calls. And because of the margin calls, people are pressured to sell. And so that creates more selling pressure on the stock. It's not rational. It's not related to something fundamental with the company. The fundamentals are great. Making more cars, uh, their manufacturing efficiencies going up, their factories are ramping. Giga Texas and Giga Berlin are killing it, and you're going to see them scale to much higher levels. Cybertruck appears to be getting close to happening. The Megapack factory in Lathrop, California is killing it, and there's so much demand for Megapack. I don't know why this happens when I'm doing videos. There's so much demand for Megapack. There's so much demand for Powerwall. There's so many good things happening within the company. But the stock market doesn't, for the last 6 months, the stock market has not reflected the fundamentals of the company. And that's something that's beyond our control. And that's one of those frustrating things is when you feel like what's happening is beyond your control, you get frustrated. And for me personally, I just accepted, okay, that's beyond my control. I don't have to worry about that. I am confident, like right now, I have Tesla stock that's trading at $120 a share. I'm confident it's heading to $300 a share, $400 a share, $500 a share. How long will it take to get there? I don't know, but it's heading that way. It seems obvious to me. Um, so Moon says 2023 earnings per share $5. Elon kind of pushed down my earnings expectations for 2023. I don't like doing short-term numbers like that. If you watch the video tomorrow or you check out the Twitter spaces that Elon did, and there's other people who've done videos about it. Of course, mine's the best. I put a lot of effort into this video that's tomorrow. Like seriously, I put a lot of effort into the video for tomorrow. There's a lot of depth, there's a lot of content, there's a lot of interpretation of things that Elon said that I think other people are missing. But one of the things he said, look, the Federal Reserve keeps raising interest rates. When interest rates are higher, it makes it more expensive to buy a car. The monthly payment goes up on a car when the interest rate goes up on the car payment on the car loan. And at the same time, the pressure on company stock is there because people can invest at a riskless rate of return that's higher, so they have less incentive to invest in a company that's on the stock market. That applies to all companies. That applies to all companies on the stock market. But there's a lot of downward pressure right now. What we can't know is how many people are still holding on margin that are going to get further margin calls. Because if there's some level we hit, I don't know if it's at 120 or 100 or 80 or 50, where people who've bought on margin are flushed out. And that gets rid of that selling pressure. And the buying pressure and the further down the stock goes, the buying pressure goes up. Because you're looking at the stock and you're saying, okay, earnings per share, let's say $4 a share. And the stock is trading at 120. That's only a price earnings ratio of 30, which is very low for a company growing this fast. And then if you push it down to 80, well, that's a price earnings ratio of 20. That's a crazy number. Pushing down the price earnings ratio increases the buying pressure from sophisticated investors. Now, some investors are saying, well, I want to wait and see where the floor is. That's a dangerous game to play. Yehuvi says, Warren, are you starting to look for other companies to invest? Even if Tesla goes to 10 trillion, it's just 10x your money. Well, no, right now that's 20x your money. I do think it's gonna go crazy over the next 4 years. I just don't know when. But no, there's no I mean, I look around, I think NVIDIA looks like a good company, but, all of the companies are gonna face pressure from the high interest rates and the challenge there's a double whammy for companies that sell large manufactured products. That's what Elon talks about in the video you're gonna hear tomorrow. You're gonna see tomorrow. Um, Pretty much all companies face all stocks face downward pricing pressure from higher interest rates. Elon's right about that. So I think that Tesla's growth story is so powerful that the idea of investing in a riskless asset instead of Tesla doesn't make sense to me, but it makes sense to other investors. Investors who don't get the Tesla story, who don't understand the value that Tesla is creating, they don't see it. Just one quick thing that I'll discuss in more depth in the video tomorrow. There's this question about whether Tesla's going to produce as high volume as possible, or they're going to restrict volume because of a demand shortage. And Elon addressed that pretty firmly that they're going to produce as much volume as they can. And again, I'm going to go into more depth in the video tomorrow. If you support me on Patreon, Locals, or as a YouTube channel member, exclusive content level, you'll be able to see that today. Otherwise, wait for tomorrow. It'll be public on YouTube tomorrow, and I'm probably going to do that as a YouTube premiere. I'm going to publish that something like 10 a.m. Eastern or noon Eastern or something like that. And it's like an hour and a half long, so we're going to have an engaging chat. There will probably be ads in the middle of the premiere, by the way, just to warn you, because YouTube gives me that option, and I'm going to try it just to see. So you're the more cars Tesla sells, this is a key point. At some point, FSD reaches a level where people really want it now. Let's say it's level 4 and so you have to sit in the driver's seat, but you don't have to pay any attention anymore. You don't have to hold the steering wheel. You don't have to look. You can be on your phone while the car's driving until the car prompts you, "Hey, take over." That's a game changer in terms of value to the driver, to the customer, to the owner. If we get to level 4, let's say late 2023 or 2024, the more cars Tesla has on the road that don't have FSD, the more cars that are potentially going to upgrade to FSD when you crack level 4. So let's say right now the take rate, the number of percentage of cars purchased that have FSD is 10%. When you get to this level 4 point, then maybe maybe a big chunk of the people who bought without FSD are going to decide to buy it. So you add another 40%. So let's say there's 3 million cars. There's probably going to be 4 million cars on the road by the end of 2023. So let's say 2 million people decide to upgrade. And let's say at that point, Tesla's charging $20,000 for the upgrade. Well, that's $40 billion in revenue and profit. It's all profit. So yes, I have tried using ChatGPT. Maybe we'll talk about that in a minute. So you think about that at somewhere down the road, assuming you believe that Tesla's going to crack the nut and they're going to solve FSD, and FSD is going to go to level 4 and eventually level 5, because level 5 won't take long after level 4. Then however many cars Tesla has out there, if half of them upgrade to FSD or they subscribe, maybe now it's a subscription, they're paying $200 or $300 a month, and you look at that revenue stream going forward, or you look at the pile that they get, and you recognize that future vehicles are, I think Tesla stops selling them without FSD at that point, but that's a whole nother question. Just the lump of the cars that didn't have FSD before that decide to adopt FSD because of the new quality is like a $40 billion boom in favor of Tesla. And Tesla's revenue for 2022 is going to be about $80 billion. Profit's going to be, I don't know, maybe it's 12 billion. I think net profit is in the ballpark of 8 or 10 billion. So that's 4x the profit this year. When that happens, that's going to be a big deal. Jim Manley says California just passed a law that forbids using full self-driving to describe software that it's okay. That's not the language of that law. There's this story about a California law that was passed that restricts the how you can describe your self-driving car. It's not a well-written law. It's not clear what they're prohibiting. I'm not worried about that at all. Oh yeah, but I just think if you look at the future, you say, okay, what are the good things that are coming? One, there's a couple of there's a guy on Twitter who's been making these threads about Megapack. Yehuvi says, I'm so overwhelmed with options right now in future. I want to invest in the Starlink and Twitter and Ginkgo, Palantir. What should I buy, Warren? Listen, standard thing to say. I don't give financial advice. I can't tell you what to, like me personally. I invest in Tesla. I don't think Palantir. I don't understand the Palantir story. I don't know much about Ginkgo at all. I don't see an easy path to invest in Starlink or Twitter because they're privately held. I don't think there's any opportunity to invest in Twitter. There's opportunities to invest in SpaceX. There's opportunities to invest in SpaceX, but the problem with investing in like SpaceX or Boring Company or Neuralink is to the extent that you can get access to those investments, you have to pay really substantial commissions and fees and carried interest, so you don't get as much from your investment. Where with Tesla, you just pay a small commission if you pay a commission at all. So I don't. I think Neuralink has really great prospects for the future. I think Boring Company has great prospects for the future. I think SpaceX. I don't understand the business model for SpaceX beyond Starlink and sort of basic launch services. Thank you, Peaceful. Shalom. Happy Hanukkah as well. And a Festivus for the rest of us. Happy Festivus, everybody. Of course, naturally now I'm getting my dating apps are lighting up. I don't know what it is about the holiday season, but my dating apps are lighting up. I find that funny. Yeah, I just want to talk about something else a little personal. I've been very critical of Gary Black and Ross Gerber, and I am critical of Gary Black and Ross Gerber and Earl of Frunk Puppy. I've been critical of them in the past. I'm critical of them in the video tomorrow, and I'm going to continue being critical of them when they earn it. And I expect Ross, and I don't see Earl very much because I've muted him and unfollowed him, and I think people send me his stuff once in a while. I think Earl's kind of quieted down a little bit, but Earl jumped on the global stage the other day on the Twitter space, going after Elon, and he exposed himself, and he didn't. I don't think that went the way Earl wanted it to go, and Ross jumped on it. But anyway, so just so you guys know, I've caught a lot of heat for criticizing Earl and Gary and Ross. Not in the Twitter chat, not in the YouTube chat, not in the comments so much on the videos, but on Twitter. I've caught a lot of heat for being critical of them. And I'm going to keep being critical of them. But the thing that bothers me the most is there are people who I thought were my friends who have pretty clearly shown that they're not real friends. If you decide if you choose to support Earl or Gary over me, and you publicly criticize me while not, you can criticize me. I take criticism reasonably well. But when the criticism's personal, when the criticism is mocking, when the criticism is, I think, dislodged from reality. I mean, one of the criticisms was that I'm obsessed with Earl, when I don't typically talk about Earl at all on a daily, weekly, or even monthly basis. Earl rises and, makes an appearance that's unavoidable, then I'm going to comment on Earl. But these are people who should know me. They should know that I'm not obsessed with Earl. I'm not obsessed with Gary. I'm not obsessed with Russ. I'm critical of them, and I think they earn the criticism. I'm obsessed with Elon. I'm very open about being obsessed with Elon. And I'm not apologizing for that. I think Elon deserves to have fans. I don't think that I deserve to have fans, or Ross or Gary or Earl deserve fans in the same way that Elon does. I appreciate your support. I appreciate people who appreciate what I'm doing. But I don't think what I'm doing is anywhere near the same level of what Elon's doing. And I think Elon has earned that level of fandom. And to be clear, I like Ross. I find Ross pleasant to talk to. I don't like Gary at all. I don't respect Earl. Ross kind of goofs around a bit, and I think he makes a lot of mistakes. But like fundamentally, I think Ross has a good heart if he doesn't do it well. Gary, I think, is just terrible, and Earl just pathetic. I don't know, and I'm not afraid to say what I think about them. And again, I don't catch the heat that much on YouTube, and I'm not concerned about those of you who are commenting in the chat or those of you commenting on the videos. I don't get that much negatives there. I get some, right? But it's not as bad. But it's on Twitter a lot, and it's particularly people who I thought were friends and I thought were supportive, and it's become apparent that, this is one of those moments, you're in the holiday season and you value your friendships, and then people you felt were your friends start attacking you publicly on Twitter. And then, well, you're not really a friend anymore. I'm sorry, but that's not friend behavior. You want to message me privately, you want to talk about something, okay? But for people who claim to, because I never claimed to be Earl's friend. I never claimed to be Gary's friend. I do feel like I'm friendly with Ross, and I think my criticisms of Ross are more jovial. I do pick on him a little bit, but I think Ross can take it also. Um, and I appreciate Ross as well, and I invested in his fund and I his GK fund. So this is one of those things that you're in the holiday season and people are supposed to be kind to each other, and to have people who are supposedly my friends, I don't know if backstabs you might the right word, or stab me in the face, really, is painful. So I'm not going to talk about that in my alone together thing. And I still, just to be clear, I have a lot of friends. I am very, very fortunate. I have a lot of friends. I have friends, a group of friends I've had for over 40 years. I have some friends locally that I've made recently. It's just on Twitter. You just go on Twitter and search, and you'll see people attacking me for. I did a poll criticize. The funny thing is, I did a poll asking whether Earl was really a fan of Elon, because Earl claimed he was a fan of Elon, and I think if you look at Earl's recent history over the past year or so, he was a fan 2 years ago. But his recent history last year or so, he has not been a fan of Elon. He has been attacking Elon. And I did a poll, and the funny thing is, Earl and I had this back and forth, and Earl said we should do a poll on that. So I did a poll, and Earl retweeted it. Is Earl a fan or not? And one of the choices is Warren is toxic. One of the choices is who's Earl. Earl did his own poll. Earl retweeted my poll. But people who I thought were my friends are attacking me for doing a poll that Earl thought was funny. And I think to some extent it's people who, and then there's, I think there's this idea that somehow I need therapy. I'm like, I'm pretty happy. I'm doing well. I'm not happy with dating, right? Which is normal, frankly. I haven't found someone, and it's normal to be unhappy when you haven't found someone. And I don't think I need some sort of therapy is going to all of a sudden land me the perfect woman. Um, so but it was particularly striking that a few people that I thought were pretty good friends, respected me, demonstrated to me that they don't respect me and they don't value me as a friend in the way that I would expect to be treated as a friend. So, and I don't know how many, I think this is also something that happens, like all the people I'm talking about are Tesla fans, right? And they're Tesla investors. And I think to some extent, some of this may be driven by that they are down because their stock is down, or they're down because they're having some other problems. And for some reason, they're shooting at me. Um, and I think part of it is also that people are, it's one thing if you're shooting at me and you're shooting at Earl or Gary or Ross equally. If you're just shooting at me, like, why? So somebody says, I think Earl is a fan. Let me explain my contention of why Earl is not a fan. Um, Earl has been attacking Elon for over a year, and if you go in his history, if you go back, you have to go back like more than a day, because about 24, 48 hours ago, after I was pointing this out, Earl did a positive tweet about Elon. But if you go back before that, and you just start going back, and you go back 100 tweets, and look for a tweet where Earl says something positive about Elon, good luck finding it. Peaceful says, Warren, I think you need to make your home women friendly. It looks like dark and plain. You need some art. Women will flock to your place. I can't get a date. You think that women, they don't see the inside of my home. I can't even get a date. Um, I mean, I had a date and it was a train wreck, but she didn't see like, you have to get way past the first date for a woman to see your home. Yahuvi says, I don't even know who Earl is. Earl is a character on Twitter called the Earl of Frunk Puppy. He's a guy who started off making with pictures of puppies in the frunk of a Tesla, and became a celebrity on Twitter with 96,000 followers. And he makes money from Twitter with subscribers, what used to be called super followers. And I think he turned on Elon because he doesn't like the pronoun thing, and Anyway, you'll see that part of it is in the video tomorrow. If I did a dating channel, I think you could give good insights. I have thought about doing a dating channel. What do I think Monroe would say about the solar apartment? I don't know. I think I have a couple of prototypes in the works. Let's talk about that for a second. So let me just say, this is Christmas or, the holiday season. Let me just say, I'm really, happy. I'm a little like frustrated today, but I'm really happy about my life. I think my life is going really well. Like I said, I'd like to be dating. I'd like to have a girlfriend. I don't have that, but there's so many people who are struggling in the world. And I have a home. I have a wonderful car, the Model X Plaid. I've got great kids. I just spent quality time with my kids a week or so ago, and I'm going to see them again in a couple days. And my kids are doing well. I've had a rough year, right? My brother died and my mother died, so I suppose I could be upset about that. But for me, that's just sort of like, okay, that happened. It was hard, losing my brother in particular. Um, yeah, what I really want to do, by the way, so but I know I have a good life. I know there's people who are struggling. Like I have a portfolio, right? There's people who don't have a portfolio. There's people who are living paycheck to paycheck, and we're heading into a recession. If Elon said we're heading into a recession, I think he's right. We're heading into a recession. A lot of people are going to struggle over the next year or so. Elon said 12 to 18 months. We're looking at potentially a really bad recession. A lot of people are going to struggle. What's my struggle going to be? I might have to sell the X Plaid and get a lesser car. I'll be okay. There's a lot of people who are struggling a lot. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm sad. I would say I'm a little more stressed than usual. I know I have it good. It's frustrating that people that I cared about and so on. Peaceful says, "Hey Warren, when I visit Florida, can we hang out?" Yeah. Listen, I live in Cape Canaveral, Florida. It's a great place to watch rocket launches. If you Google space launch schedule, you can see when launches are coming. And my suggestion would be come to the Cape Canaveral area, Melbourne, Cape Canaveral, Titusville, um, probably Cape Canaveral, Satellite Beach, anywhere down to Melbourne. These are great places to visit. Um, Come and visit, and we'll go hang out. We'll watch a rocket launch together. Find a Muslim wife; they are loyal. I don't know. Do Muslim women want to marry Jewish men? Is that kind of a thing? I don't know the answer to that. I've swiped right on Muslim women on dating apps. I don't think any of them swiped right on me. Yeah. Thank you, Batwing. Batwing says you seem to be a genuine person. That's what matters most. Keeping you. That's it. That's the thing. Like I feel like there are people who I thought were my friends who are not happy with me criticizing Earl or criticizing Gary or whatever, and they're trying to put pressure on me to get me to change. This is one of those things like, look, I'm who I am. I'm 56. I'm changing a little bit. I'm learning country line dancing. This is one of the fun things in life, right? I picked up country line dancing as a hobby. Got new boots. I got a cowboy hat. I'm getting better at the dancing. I'm meeting people. That's kind of fun. Kekistan says you have to get past the first date for women to see the inside of your home. You ever heard of chloroform, bro? Hey, if I used chloroform, they still wouldn't see the inside of my home. Yeah, people are like, hey, you should go to Thailand or you should go to the Philippines, or one friend says go to Colombia, the country Colombia. I'm thinking about going to Japan. Honestly, my life is pretty good here. I'm pretty happy here. I'm expecting that I will make progress on the pod car this next couple of months. I'll be heading into a crowdfunding round spring or summer of this coming year. I'm going to start building the solar farm apartment prototype. I think this is a rough plan. Like, there's no guarantee any of this stuff happens, right? I just think this is going to happen. If you and Gary had a mutual friend, I could understand how they could perceive your criticism more as a personal attack, even if you just did not agree with their analysis. I've never said like Gary's a scumbag. Gary's, he doesn't make sense. You watch my recent video. I did a video recently where I took apart Gary's argument. I take apart his argument, and I'm not polite about it, but you know, yelling at kids to get off his lawn. You're not going to find women on dating apps. Go to synagogue. I have thought about joining a synagogue. I have thought about that, or going to synagogue. I've thought about going to synagogue. I've thought about going to churches. Can you show us your country line dancing in a future video? I'm probably going to do that, Will. I am probably going to do that. All right, we got a couple minutes left on this video, and then I'm going to switch over. So just again, I'm going to be doing another live stream starting in 5 minutes on the Locals platform, warrenredlich.locals.com, where I'm going to do a deep dive on, or I'm going to do a teardown of this New York Times article. So that's coming up. It's free. You don't have to be a paid supporter to watch the video. I'm not going to switch over to paid supporters during the video. If you are a paying supporter of me on the Locals platform, you do get to see tomorrow's video early, and I do some content that is supporters only on the Locals platform. This is the only platform where I do Locals only content, supporter only content. So I would encourage you to, please support me on here. It's $5 a month, I think, and I think it's worth it on warrenredlick.locals.com. Sorry. We some melons in supermarkets. What do you mean by melons? Do I think Lex Friedman will be the next Twitter CEO? No. I think Lex suggested that, and Elon did not say yes. I don't think Elon's ready for. I think Elon's going to do it, but who knows? Musk deserves criticism around his last 2 stock sales. Otherwise, Twitter's just noise. Musk had to sell stock. He said he sold stock, to buy Twitter, and he sold stock so he would have more cash on hand, so he wouldn't have to sell later when the stock was. I think Elon thinks the stock might go down more. I think we need to be prepared for that. I should do a video on Thunderfoot's Tesla semi-cargo weight. I'm not doing that. I still have 40 years of life remaining. 40? I'm 56. I don't think I'm going to get 40. If Neuralink comes along, Neuralink might save me for the long term, but I think 30 is optimistic, and I think I can give a woman and children a quality 20 years. 20, 25 years of quality, that I can add value to their lives. At some point after the age of 75, I'm going to start diminishing my ability to contribute, and I accept that. But I think for the next 20 years or so, I can be a valuable person to a woman and to children, and that's what I'm shooting for. And probably going to just have kids through a surrogate in 2024 because prospects of finding a woman to have children with just looks really, really thin. So, but yeah, everybody, please stay safe. I would say be ready that there's a recession coming and do what you need to do to prepare yourself for a recession. Start thinking about cutting your expenses. I keep my expenses pretty lean. So do that. So, all right, I'm going to wrap this up now. Please, obviously, support me on the Locals platform, Patreon as YouTube channel member. Check out my videos. But look in the description below. I'm about to go live on the Locals platform to talk about this New York Times article. We're going to dive into it, tear it down, show you how idiotic it is. And it'll be a lot of fun. And Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy Hanukkah, everybody. I don't know what the Muslim holiday is. I think it's Ramadan. I don't know if it's now. Happy Festivus to the rest of us. Happy New Year if I don't see you again before then. And thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Thank you to Mark Plott for moderating and Mark Potochnik. And thanks to my YouTube channel members for your support. We'll see you all soon. Thank